Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you. I'm so happy to be here with you today. When we go through things collectively, I don't know how people, or individually, when we just go through difficult things, I don't know how people do it without faith and without community. It's been a part of my life, my whole life. There was a brief period of my 20s where I didn't have that, and it was the dark night of my soul. There was also a lot of vodka involved. Did I mention that? Yeah. But when I began to start my path of recovery, I found recovery, and then New Thought found me in the same year when I was 28. At our convention this week, they gave us little buttons or little stickers if we came into this teaching earlier in life, and I was kind of surprised to see, oh, I'm one of those. That I've been a part of this teaching since my 20s. We are a non-dual faith. Most of the Western religions are dual by nature, that there is a good reality and a bad reality, and they fight against each other. And this includes Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And we occupy a very unusual and, I think, sacred space, that we are in the household of Christianity, but we have this kinship with the Eastern faiths of Hinduism and Buddhism, because we believe that all there is the divine, that there is nothing but the life of God. And it's a beautiful place to stand, and yet it's a hard place to stand when we see violence in our world, when we see pain, when we see suffering. And so we tend to do one of two things about that. We sometimes do what we call a spiritual bypass. It's like, it's just an illusion, it's not really happening. Or we question, do we really believe that God is all there is in the face of the starving child? And that questioning can be hard, and for many, I think it may be too much. But my experience has been that if I'm willing to bring those hard and painful questions to my faith will always deepen me. I remember years ago we had a young man who was singing for us on Wednesday nights when I used to do that service, and he came from the Jehovah's Witness community and had very fundamentalist faith, and he was trying to explain to his mom what this Unity Church was all about, and she wasn't buying a bit of it. And he said, well, Mom, really all I can tell you is that they don't answer all my questions, but I get to question their answers. Do you feel that? That we can't answer all your questions, but if we offer you answers, you're welcome to question them, to take them up, to wrestle with them. I love the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel in the Old Testament. He said, I will not release you until you what? Who knows it? Bless me. And so when we deal with difficult things in our life, in this faith tradition, we don't have to pretend it's not happening. We don't have to affirm it away. We get to wrestle with it, take it up, hold it, and I promise you, if you do that, continuing doing those spiritual practices, even though it doesn't feel like they're working, continue to come and be in the community of, it doesn't feel like it's changing anything, and over time, we deepen. We grow stronger. And this has been true for me 100% of the time. 32 years I've been in this teaching. And I believe it now more than ever. We chose this title, How We Care for Each Other. About a year and a half ago, Katie Miner and I were talking, and she shared with me that she had had a very traumatic experience, a close call with gun violence. And she asked if we as a church could somehow honor Gun Violence Awareness Month, which happens in June. And for different reasons, we weren't able to do it last year, but I think it's perfect timing that we're doing it today. And in a little while, Katie's going to share her story with you. And it's also probably not coincidental that our country dropped bombs on another country last night. That we are we're in another one of those times. Can we really believe that God is present everywhere? Can we really believe that peace is possible? Well, that's my question that I'm wrestling with, that I've been wrestling with a long time, and I'm going to give a 10-minute talk. Stacy said I could do 15. Because when we are sometimes wrestling with these angels, I think sometimes just hearing someone tell their story and then doing some kind of a ceremony together moves our hearts. So we have created a ceremony today. That's a good thing about being in unity. We don't really have ceremonies. We just make them up. And we've made one up for you today that I feel will give us some comfort and a place to hold this in our bodies. Is peace possible in the human world? Anybody got an answer? Want to try it? Yes. Okay, we have some people that believe it's possible. Yes. In Unity, in New Thought, we teach that we have access to unlimited potentiality. The unlimited potentiality of God. We have access to it. But the problem is we don't have capacity for it. And the word we use for that capacity in this teaching is consciousness. Consciousness is cause. The material world is the effect. That before anything was created, it was thought. So before any violent act was perpetrated, there was a thought. A thought of separation, a thought of scarcity, a thought of whatever it is. And so we do believe that consciousness is cause. And if we can just raise our own consciousness, what do we sing at the end of this service? Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let it begin with me. So this is where I do the work, in consciousness. What am I holding about humanity? What am I holding about my family? Well, there's the place to start, too. Anybody else have a family? Ram Dass, that wonderful spiritual teacher, there was a whole group of Jewish scholars and professionals in the 1960s and 70s that discovered the Eastern traditions. And his guru was Maharaji, and he sat and listened and learned in that Eastern wisdom. He was actually a professor at Harvard. But he said, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a weekend with your family. I see some knowing nods in this church today. But that's where we begin, at home. That's where we begin to see where we are troubled, where we're not tapping into the full potential of God's peace on earth. And we don't have to look far. Usually be close at hand. There was a young Albanian woman who had a deep, loving relationship with the mystical Jesus and felt a vocation, and she gave her life to Jesus. And she became a sister in the Catholic Church, and she felt called to serve the poorest of the poor in the Calcutta slums and gave her life to serve those who were at the absolute bottom of society and culture. Saint Teresa of Calcutta. Yeah, an amazing soul. She gave her life to be the hands of Jesus, to be the hands of Spirit to those who needed it most. We found out, after she had died, there were some letters to her confessor that were released, and it turns out that she had lost that mystical connection early in life, that she was in communion with the Spirit of Jesus, and then it was removed from her. And for the rest of her life, she continued to do the hard work, often with crippling depression. Now, we don't recommend that in Unity. And yet there is something about her journey that does inspire me. That she was so committed to being what she knew God had called her to be, that even when the circumstances, even when her own experience was not what she had hoped it would be, she kept showing up, kept feeding and washing the wounds of the poor in Calcutta to the end of her life. Now, we don't recommend that path of suffering. We actually offer a lot of classes that teach us how we can increase our experience of well-being and abundance, and they work. And this is where I'm going to be a little bit of a New Thought heretic right now. In my experience, we do not outgrow pain and struggle. Even in this teaching, we will have times of pain and struggle. And how do we be with that? There's a story, you probably heard it. It didn't happen, I'm sure, but it's one that has been used to illustrate many a sermon in many denominations. A very, very low tide had gone out, and there were thousands of starfish stranded on the beach, and they were dying. And a little boy began to pick them up one at a time and throw them into the ocean. And an older man came up to him and said, "What are you doing? You can't save these starfish. Look how many there are. And what you're doing will not matter." And the little boy said, "It matters to this one." And he threw it in. And that is true. That what we do matters to the one that we bring the peace of God to, that one that we work through our own stuff so we can be a place of reconciliation and healing. That matters. And there's another thing that happens. It's called consciousness. My dear friend and mentor, Reverend Dr. Kathy Hearn, says, when we heal a false belief in ourselves and our own consciousness, we heal it for all people, present, past, and future. That we are a part of the collective consciousness of humanity. And so when we do our work towards peace in humanity, we do it for all people, and we're a part of the tide that lifts all boats. Mother Teresa says this, "If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other." How many of you have fallen to the temptation of otherizing? Thank you. I saw a minister raise her hand, so I know that I'm not the only one that does that. Particularly in our divided political climate, it's so easy to otherize and be otherized and all of that. It's easy. But did you know our teaching doesn't actually give you an excuse or a space to do that? If we believe that God is all there is, God is present in all beings, we have to know it even for those ones who are so awful. Yeah. That's what we're called to. So I think we all agree we have work in consciousness to do here. Yeah? Amen. Jesus taught this so clearly, again and again. I believe that Jesus of Nazareth was a non-dual teacher. There was a young man, I don't know that he was young. I don't think the scripture says that, but I conflate my stories just like everybody else does. There was an expert in the law that came to Jesus and said, "What's the greatest law?" See, the people of the religious law, the Pharisees, they were always trying to catch Jesus out because he was radical. He was doing things you're not supposed to do according to the law, but Jesus knew his law. And he turned it back on him like a good rabbi will do, and he says, "What do you say is the greatest law?" And the young expert in the law said, I made him young again, said, "It is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and to love your neighbor as yourself." This comes from the Torah, the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses. And Jesus said, "You have answered correctly." But then the young scholar, again, I don't know why I'm saying it that way, he says, "Who then is my neighbor?" See, he's been a little rabbi on himself, wasn't he? Like, I'm going to ask you another question. And Jesus told the story of a Samaritan, the most despised, othered group in Jesus' culture at the time. They were the worst of the worst. You did not associate with them. They didn't do anything right. They didn't sanctify their food and bless it all the right way. They didn't say the right prayers. They didn't do anything right. And so the holy people in Jesus' culture of first century Judaism, they despised the Samaritans. And Jesus said a Samaritan was taking the road between Jericho and Jerusalem, and he was robbed and left for dead by the side of the road. And along came 2 religious leaders in that same faith. And they saw the man there, and what did they do? It says they crossed to the other side, left him there. And then I got that whole thing wrong. The Samaritan comes in the story now, not earlier. That first guy, he was good. The one that this is why I should have read it. He was a good guy, got beaten up, left for dead. Then the Samaritan comes along, the most despised. And it says that he took the man up, bound his wounds, put him on his own donkey, took him to the inn, cared for him, and then gave money so that the innkeeper can continue to care for them. And then Jesus turned to that scholar after telling this story, and he said, "Who then is the neighbor?" And the scholar said, "It is the one who had compassion." Jesus said, "You have answered correctly." Now, we hear that story a lot, usually told correctly. But that word Samaritan for us is a good association. We have Samaritan hospitals and there are all of that. But in Jesus' time, that would have been a slap in the face to make the hero of a story be a Samaritan. Barbara Brown Taylor, a wonderful Episcopal priest, she says, if you could imagine whatever group that you're not into, imagine that that's the story Jesus told. The good gay guy, the good Republican, the good Democrat, whatever that is, that Jesus was saying, no, we're all in this together. And when we can look past those differences and care for one another, then we're demonstrating the law to love the Lord our God with all of our heart and to love our neighbor as ourselves. So that's what we're up to. Today, we're going to look within. And we're going to see what we can do to heal our own false beliefs. A couple of years ago, Reverend Stacy gave a talk on the pearl of great price. She said, to gain the kingdom of heaven, we must be willing to give up some stuff. It was a parable of Jesus, that the kingdom of heaven is like a pearl of great price, and the merchant, finding it, sold all that he had so that he could purchase it. Raymond Hollowell, who wrote the book about spiritual laws that we use in Prosperity Plus class, he talks about the law of surrender. And he says this, when we are working with the spiritual law of surrender, we are never required to surrender the greater for the lesser. It's always the other way. We surrender the lesser for the greater. So the thing that I think we're needing to give up today is our despair, is our hopelessness around gun violence in our country. I think we need to begin to open the door of hope that perhaps if enough like-minded people get together and say, we can change this, we can change this. Candy Leitner, she was just a mom. Her daughter was killed by a drunk driver, and she got mad after she grieved. She formed that group, MADD. Do you know it's the most effective grassroots movement that has reduced deaths in American history? We still have drunk drivers, and people still die from drunk driving, but the numbers are so greatly reduced because moms got together and said, we can change this. And that consciousness began to grow. So today I'm going to invite you to be willing to let go of your hopelessness. Surrender it. And begin to open the door that we can change this. In recovery, the way of healing is to share our stories. And sometimes we tell the nitty and the gritty of our stories, and there is healing in that. Well, our dear Katie Miner, one of our beloved members here, is doing a courageous thing today. She's decided to share her story of how gun violence impacted her life, nearly took her life. And so I just invite you with all your love to welcome her to the stage. This is Katie Miner. Thank you for doing this.
Good morning. Thank you all for letting me share my story with you today. As Reverend Michael said, it's not the easiest one for me to share, but I'm going to do my best. In a few weeks, on August 29th, actually, it will officially be the 10th anniversary of the night I almost didn't make it home alive. I almost didn't make it home to my young children, my family, my friends. That night I was in New Orleans, my hometown. I had followed two of my oldest friends back to their house. I parked in front of their house in the street. They pulled down the driveway to go in the back door. When I got out of the car, I saw two guys walking down the sidewalk. The two guys were about to change my life. It was when I turned my back towards them that I heard their footfalls turn into a run. Instinctively, I ran too, but they were fast. I didn't get anywhere near the door when one of them grabbed me from behind with an arm across my shoulder and neck and turned me to face the other guy, the one with the gun pointed at my face. That's when everything gets a little slippery for me. Time, distance, memory, it all sort of slides through my mind as I try to reconstruct what happened. I do vividly remember the gun pointed at my face. I remember staring down the barrel of the gun, just like that expression. But when I was looking down that dark, seemingly endless passage, I was thinking, that's where the bullet will come out before it slams into my brain. The guy holding me was pulling me backward toward my car. These two strangers, because they were the ones holding the gun, thought they could touch me and control me and move my body where they wanted. And the thing is, with that gun, they could. I remember staring at the gun and thinking, I don't want to get shot in the face. But they were dragging me back toward my car, and everyone knows in that situation you do not want to get in the car. I didn't want to get shot in the face, and I didn't want to get in the car. And during all of this, they were talking. They were coming up with their plans. They were going to get me in the car, and they were going to take me somewhere. And there, they were going to rape me, and they were going to kill me. I did not want to get shot in the face, and I could not get in that car. My brain went into hyperdrive with thinking because it was the only weapon I had. I thought, what do these guys need to not shoot me in the face in this moment? It seemed the only way they might even allow me to live is if they thought I couldn't identify them. So I dropped my head and stared at the ground. I didn't think I should struggle because that was going to get me shot in the face. So I went with passive resistance. I let my body weight drop, and I hung there, held up by the guy's arm that was now across my neck. They demanded my keys, and I dropped them on the ground. They demanded my purse, and I dropped it on the ground. And the guy with his arm across my neck was trying in earnest now to drag me backward toward my car by my neck. That's when my thinking started to get wobbly. And I remember trying to think what to do next, how to stop this unthinkable horror that was barreling toward me, but nothing came now. My brain went from hyper-functioning to absolutely deathly still. Ironically, I remember thinking, why can't I think? I know now. It was because I was being dragged across a yard by my neck. They were cutting off the oxygen to my brain. At some point, I lost consciousness. I will never know exactly what happened to me then, or how I got those enormous angry bruises that spread across my inner thighs. I know when I came to, I was on my knees next to my car, and they were driving away in it. I don't know why they gave up and left me there. And it has taken me almost 10 years to even come up with a theory. I realized that they probably gave up on their plans to kill me because they thought they already had. I must have looked dead, hanging there, limp and lifeless. And in reality, I was inching closer to dead with every moment they deprived my brain of oxygen. It took every bit of strength I had to stumble to my friend's door and knock. And when they opened, I couldn't tell them what happened, partly because it took a little bit of time for the memory to come back, and partly because my brain had gone without oxygen for so long, I could no longer form words. The police responded quickly because this or versions of it were happening to people across the area. It would take longer than I have today to tell you what life was like for me after that night. How I was terrified of having strangers at my back, terrified of men, especially in pairs, terrified of cars, terrified of sidewalks. When the police asked questions about what I could remember from the brief glance I had at my attackers, I kept thinking that the guys looked unfinished, and I didn't even know what I meant by that. But it came to me the next week when the police sent me mugshots of likely suspects to look at. Mugshots of teenage boys. That's why I kept thinking they looked unfinished. Their bodies had the gangly look of ones that are still growing. They were kids, not much older than my oldest son was at the time, who was 15. As you can imagine, that night forever changed a lot for me. One of the many things I see differently now are simple statistics like gun violence numbers. I know that as horrible as what happened to me was, I am not even a part of those statistics because I am one of the lucky ones who did not get shot. And when I think about the 327 people who are shot every day of the year in this country, I think how each and every one of them are people like I was in that moment who just want to get home alive. Thank you.
Ministers, if you'll join me, thank you, Katie. We have a ceremony that we're going to participate in now. Very simple, but just as a way that we can declare to ourselves that we want to be a part of the healing of this wound in our culture. That's what this is. And hopefully now that when we see those statistics, we'll remember that there's a mom or a daughter or a son or a dad behind every one of those statistics. For this ceremony, we will use stone and water, two simple everyday things that can be potent symbols of healing and transformation. Ushers, if you can go ahead and pass out the stones now. That we will be bringing baskets, just little river stones, and just take one as they come by. Just don't take a lot of time. Just pick the one that's right and hold it in your hand. This stone represents earthly reality. This stone represents the hard place. Oh no, I knew I had one there. The hard place of resistance in our own lives. So as you're getting your stone, let this stone, your stone, represent your own part of human consciousness. The part that finds it hard to believe that we can ever heal violence in our society. What I encourage you to do once you get your stone is to release judgment of yourself and of others, and simply accept that violence has been a part of human culture for generations and generations. We begin not denying the reality, the hard, resistant reality. Before we can release it to a higher possibility, we just let it be.
John 14:27. Jesus said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." And as we move towards healing and releasing old beliefs, let us feel the power and the wisdom of Jesus' words. Not as the world gives. Beyond the hard and seemingly unshielding nature of the wounds of the human condition, there is a higher reality, a place of peace, a place of forgiveness, a place of healing.
Just wait until everybody has. Raise your hand. We will make sure that everyone has one before we move forward. They're coming to you, I see. Just keep it raised. We'll make sure that you get one.
Is a traditional Hawaiian practice of reconciliation and forgiveness. It can be translated as to put to rights, to put in order or shape, correct, revise, adjust, or amend. It can also be defined as mental, emotional, and spiritual cleansing. We can use the phrases, "I love you," "I'm sorry," "Please forgive me," and "Thank you," to move our consciousness from brokenness to wholeness.
Why we will say, "I'm sorry, please forgive me," for violent action that we ourselves have not taken? The Hawaiian healers and teachers tell us that taking responsibility for the whole of the issue, not just our actions has a profound effect on our collective consciousness and experience.
As you hold your stone, you might think about everything that transpired so that we are in this moment right now, everything that came about for this country, and hold the possibility of transformation and healing. And repeat these 4 phrases silently. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And if these words don't resonate with you, feel free to offer your own prayers into this space as we imagine peace. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. The element of water represents spirit and transformation. If you've ever seen the Grand Canyon, you have witnessed the amazing capacity of soft and yielding water to transform hard and unyielding stone. When you feel ready, you are invited to come forward and release your stone into the bowl of water. This symbolizes releasing our limited beliefs for ourselves and for others, and opening our hearts and minds to a higher reality, to a deeper way. After releasing your stone, please take one of the affirmation cards we have and return to your seat. We ask that you join us in singing this simple chant that is the words of Jesus set to music. Or you can simply continue to contemplate the affirmation until we're complete. And we're not going to release you by rows. We're just going to let you come as you feel led and be mindful of everyone else in this space. And so we'll just trust you to let people out or back in the row in a way that feels filled with compassion and honoring where everybody is on this process. This is a sacred time of healing. Thank you. Peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Not as the world gives, give I to thee. Oh, peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Not as the world gives, give I to thee. Oh, peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Not as the world gives, give I to thee. Oh, peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee, not as the world gives, give I to thee. Oh, peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Not as the world gives, give I to thee. Oh, peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Not as the world gives, give I to thee. Oh, peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Not as the world gives, give I to thee. Oh, peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Not as the world gives, give I to thee. Oh, peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Not as the world gives, give I to thee. Oh, peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Peace give I to thee. Not as the world gives, give I to thee. Oh, peace give I to thee. Peace Peace give unto thee, not as the world gives, give unto thee. Oh, peace give unto thee. Peace give unto thee. Peace give unto thee. Not as the world gives, give unto thee. Oh, peace give unto thee. Pray with me. Peace. 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 May I be a place where the peace of God is born anew today. May this community become a greater beacon of God's peace on earth. May we remember the truth that we belong to each other. That we belong to each other. Would you join me now in reading the affirmation together? Today, I choose compassion in my thoughts and actions. I commit to being a peaceful presence in the world. And so it is. Amen. Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.